everybody, welcome back to Dorks Are Dangerous, Chronicle 3, Session 1. I am your host and DM, Kaylee, and I'm joined by our wonderful crew. Say hi, wonderful crew, as I call you out. We've got Bruce.
Hey, wonderful crew.
We got Dave.
Hey, everybody.
We got Johnny.
Hello.
And our newest player, we got James, Sunnyside James to be exact.
Hello.
So last we left off with our party, we got to get the characters introduce ourselves a little bit, kind of give you a feel of what we do around here, and then we dived right into gameplay, which I don't think any of you were really prepared for, but I was excited about it. So where we left off is Shelton and Ryan, are in the keep currently. Ryan is resting from his long journey. Shelton has been spelunking around the castle with the butler, Ploopthroop, and Ploopthroop lost track of him for a little bit. He managed to get into the kitchens, but then he was found and escorted back towards his rooms, along with a guardian clockwork. 7-foot-tall creation made of metal, very intimidating. Then outside of the keep, we have Edmund, who is currently at his church, as well as Quin'i'th, who is at his particular church as well. Both are located in the Dola district, but Quin'i'th's church is more towards the Laves, which is kind of the outer district up higher, where in Diarden, which we'll kind of get back into of how this terrain looks. But does anyone have any questions or comments before we start?
I just feel like a prisoner now. I don't like it.
Don't worry, maybe or maybe not. You won't be. We'll see. All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and get started. So, Shelton, you've been caught, and you are now being escorted around the keep a little bit, still seeing the sights on the second floor. You were able to take a quick gander at where the other rooms are, the servant quarter rooms, just as they pointed out to you. And also, you happen to get a peek of something called the gardens that are in the Zolan Keep. You didn't stop for long, you just happened to pass by them unless you wanted to stop. But they are currently guiding you back towards your rooms. Do you want to try to sneak back, or are you just willing to go back?
You know, I already tried once. I got away with it. I feel satisfied. I'm just going to go back.
All right. So as you head back, Ryan, unless you are... Actually, make a perception check for me real quick.
Alright, 1 second. That is an 8.
All right. You are so tired from your trip that you don't hear the giant metallic thumping of the Guardian as Shelton is taken back to his rooms, which are adjacent to yours. He does come through the commons area you share, and Shelton, as you enter, you are in the commons area. You do see the other 3 doors, 2 of which were open. One is now closed, the one that's right next to yours to the left. But they let you back in your room, and Poopthroop goes, "Well, do you have anything else you would like me to see about?"
Well, not really. Thank you for your hospitality.
Well, we will come fetch you when it is time for the dinner, which will be in a couple of hours from now. Good night, Archmedilius.
And good night to you.
He bows, and he and the clockwork guardian depart. And you're left to your own devices in the room. What would you like to do?
He just kind of lets out like a sigh of relief now that he's finally alone again. Can I do an investigation check on the room?
Of course.
Just looking for anything that might pique my interest. No, not bad for a -1. I got a 15.
So you did an investigation check earlier. You see a couple more books about the history of Diarden. You don't see anything super interesting, but as you're kind of walking around, you do feel a weight in one of your robe pockets, especially on the right. It's a little heavier than the others.
I'm gonna reach in and figure out what that is.
It is a small book. It doesn't have any intricate designs on the outside. It is leather bound with a clasp to keep it shut. The pages are from what you can see before opening, are very yellowed, but it otherwise looks very well maintained. But it's about palm size.
And what is the title of the book?
Well, as you open it, you find that it is called A Manual of Bodily Health. You can roll a history check or Arcana if you happen to know what that is offhand, unless you would like to spend some time reading through it.
He's just gonna look through it and just like kind of put his fingers up to his chin and go, He's not gonna read it. He's just gonna look at the pages.
Okay, you do see like food pictures and herbs and various fauna words, but it's about, you just see some pictures of that kind of stuff as you flipping through it.
Okay. He's gonna sit down and just keep looking at the pages.
Okay. With that, we'll cut to Ryan. It's probably been about 20-ish minutes. You were probably snoozing since you did not hear Shelton or the Clockwork Guardian or the butler walking about. What would you like to do? Do you want to still be sleeping? Do you want to wake up?
I'm going to go ahead and actually, I think, use this time to make a couple arrangements around my room. We talked about a couple things I was going to drop down.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a chest or any kind of like spot for safekeeping for where I can put some items?
Yes, so there are wardrobes for your attire. There is a giant chest, and there's also like a chest of drawers. The big chest has a padlock style lock on it. But if you look in the chest of drawers, you will find like a smaller box, maybe toolbox size.
Perfect. Do you think a spell book would fit in there?
You could squeeze it in there, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put my spell book in there and go ahead and put a bit of an enchantment on that. And then let's see. Don't suppose he has any idea of how much time he's got.
You could make a general perception check.
Yeah, I think just for assuming I haven't, I'm gonna go ahead and try to get that done on the footlocker with basically a spare spell book in it. That's gonna take me about an hour.
Okay.
If I haven't been interrupted yet, then I'm gonna go ahead and, is there a doormat by the door by any chance? Or any kind of rug or carpet?
Your room or the commons room?
In my room.
There's no doormat in your room.
And no carpet or rug or anything?
There's a big rug, but it's underneath your bed. So that when you touch the ground when you first get up, your feet don't get cold.
Give me 1 second. Just double checking something. Yeah, it could be pretty small. Would you say that I could lift up maybe a couple feet of that?
Sure. You're going to lift the bed up and get the rug out?
I'm going to just lift up a little bit of the rug. I only need to lift up probably a couple feet worth of the rug so that I can do some rune inscribing there as well.
And that'll take you about an hour?
That'll take me another hour.
Okay. So while you're doing that then, this will be your actions, and when we're done with this, I'll go to the other players.
Okay, yeah, and I would say after I'm done with those two things, gonna kind of feel a little bit better, feel like the room is secure. So I think after that, he's just gotta try to take another nap again, now that his room's been a little bit protected, and I will send you what those glyphs are doing and how they get triggered and all that separately, so as not to spoil the fun.
Perfect, thank you. Shelton, while you're reading, make a perception check just to see if you hear stuff in the other room. You are very engrossed with these pictures and big bold words and just having the time of your life reading this manual of bodily health.
They are words.
They are words and fancy pictures.
All
right. So we're actually going to leave the keep for a moment, and we're going to go out into Dyerden. We're going to go past the Zellerin Keep, past its flickering barrier that surrounds the whole of it, past the shops in the outer courts of this area, up into the Dolo district. And we're going to go to the Church of Aranon, to Edmund. What is Edmund doing in these few hours to prepare before he is collected?
Getting cleaned up, shining his armor, shining his sword, making sure it's sharpened, but he has no intention of using it, making sure that the shield looks proper and respectable, like any outstanding member of the Church of Aranon.
Perfect. I would say that there's probably people coming in and out of the main area. You're probably in your private quarters, but you probably do hear the slight hubbub of people coming and going throughout the day, asking for prayer, praying to the god of Aranon. who is also a very esteemed god in Diarden, which all gods of the Forge are held in a higher respect, but all gods are welcome. But you'll hear him coming and going, just faintly. But if you're not going to go and see anyone and you're just going to do that, that's fine. Just let me know.
Yeah, there's no one I'm going to go out of my way to go see, but if someone requests me or needs help with anything or over here, anyone struggling with anything, I'll be more than happy to step up and assist them as needed.
Okay. Actually, there is a knock on your door.
I clear my throat. One moment. I finish up what I'm doing very quickly, walk to the door and open it.
You see a young lad there in his very early 20s, possibly not even quite an adult yet. And he goes, "Excuse me, sir, I cannot find priest. I would like to speak of a prayer, and I'm hoping I could have guidance on the matter. I'm new to this church. I just rolled in with the recent batch of refugees."
Of course. Where are you from? I step aside and hold my hand out, offering him a seat at my desk there. And I sit across from him at a simple table.
He takes off his hat, kind of wrings his hands, and shuffles towards desk. He's not of well-off attire. He is definitely commoner. Anyone that comes into the refugees usually is a little battered. It's a tough time getting into Diarden, even with potential protection. He sits down and goes, I'm from Cedarville, out in the Choleric Kingdom. It's towards the countryside. My extended family was supposed to arrive a few days ago, but I have yet to hear word, and I'm wondering if there's a way for me to submit a prayer to Eranon to protect them. I don't know. I'm very new to this church. I'm sorry for my lack of knowledge.
I hold up my hand. I'm like, there's no need to apologize. You're learning. And we're all here to help grow each other. We can pray. The Pontifex, what's the word I'm looking for? Bruce, help me out.
The what?
It's the Pontifex, right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yes, the Pontiff.
I believe in you.
Thank you, James. Got my back.
The Supreme Pontiff? Yes, Pontifex.
Yeah, okay, Pontiff, okay. Yeah, see, now you learned something.
That's what he said.
The Pontiff isn't available right now. He would have greater access to spells than I do. But I will pray with you, and I will do my best to get the message to him about your concern. What was your name?
Oh, my name is Caleb. Caleb Ryers.
Pleasure to meet you, Caleb. Edmund Rowan.
He nods. He kind of goes to shake your hand, but he's not sure if you would allow it, so he kind of puts his hand back down, nods to you.
I reach out my hand, which is, again, my hand has a sleeve that covers it, so no skin is seen, but it's very breathable fabric. And I shake his hand, like pleasure.
Yeah. He gives you a pretty strong grip of a hand shake. Even though he's timid, he recognizes he should not be weak in his shakes. But he will bow his head and pray with you for a moment to wish his extended family safe passage into Diarden to get into the Neo Kingdom.
And like you said, I will pray for safe passage. Pray to other gods that would help along the way, that would help their travels as well, like Twyla and things like that. So extending out to the good pantheon of gods for the sword of Stella, the guidance of Twyla.
Go ahead and make a perception check for me real fast, or an insight, whichever you prefer.
Un momento, por favor. Neither is good. I will go with perception. 12.
Perfect. It's very faint. It's very different from that energy you felt earlier in the day, that real dark, heavy energy that kind of was just looming over your back. This is different, but it's faint. You do feel a bit of divine warmth kind of nestle over your shoulders and arms, like but it's not just one source, it's multiple sources, as this place is steeped in magic, and it's possible that more than one god has heard your prayers.
That bodes well for Caleb's family. Once I finish, I give him a genuine smile. Like, hopefully, the gods have heard, and the gods will look after them. I have a feeling that they're out there, and they know what you're looking for.
Thank you so much, sir. And he goes to fish out his pocket coin. I don't have much, but I did want to offer something.
Like, whatever you can spare.
He pulls out 2 gold coins and then a couple of silver on top of that.
I wave my hand. I'm like, not to me. I'm doing my job as a member of the Church of Aranon. If you would like to donate, please see one of the acolytes in the main cathedral, and they will put your donation to good use.
Oh, of course. He scrapes the coins up. Thank you so much. And he'll get up and bow and kind of awkwardly show himself out.
I give him a half wave and shut the door. Go back to getting ready for later.
Perfect. We'll go to, in the meantime, then we'll go to Quin'i'th. Quin'i'th, you've done a little bit of shopping.
Yes.
And so are you still at the church currently, or are you still out and about? You would have gone to the Zollern area.
Yes, currently out and about. I am in the zone of the area, and yes, we're picking up a few extra things that I felt I might like to have.
Perfect. As you are about to exit the store, Annette waves to you and goes, "Please do come again, Sugar. It was great talking to you. You're always welcome here at my apothecary."
He lowers his head and gives her a calm wave.
"Is there anywhere else you need to go or other things you need to pick up? I don't think the alchemist is in currently, but I'm pretty sure Horam is. You know how cross he can be, though."
I would like to visit that individual and pick up a few healing potions if I can. Beyond that, I think I have about everything else that I need.
Oh, so Anne's actually the one you got the potions from.
Then we're good.
Perfect.
Thanks, Anne.
Yeah, so she owns an honest apothecary. All right, so she bids you adieu. You hear her shut the door. And what would you like to do in this moment?
I would probably simply start heading back to the church. I don't think there's anything else that I need to do. Do I notice anyone around me paying attention to me?
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check. Actually, your passive's good enough. So you don't see too many guards. So you've lived in Dyerden for a while, and you know there's not a lot of like humanoid soldiers. Those that are around are typically up in the laves, guarding the mining shafts and the refugees coming and going, the main streets in the Dollar District, etc. There's not too many around the keep. What you do see, though, is about 4 or 5 Watcher clockworks, which are small, like at most 1.5 to 2 feet big drones that are meant to kind of be spy/observers, kind of keeping an eye out for things. You see them crawling along the shimmering force field that covers the keep of Dyerden, like at a straight circular wall all the way around it that goes straight to the peak that's hundreds of miles up. But they're kind of crawling all over that, keeping an eye on things, and you notice they're clocking you. At least 2 of them are, but They do that to everybody.
Right. I don't perceive it as being anything out of the ordinary.
No, you're very used to these machines keeping an eye on the city. And you know not everyone's fond of it, but they understand the need for it, given that you are underground and there's a lot of scary things in the underground.
Right. All right.
You do notice, actually, there is one particular not machine like guard on the other side of the wall opposite of you. Instead of like a metal mask that you've seen some officials wear or some guards wear, this one wears a wooden one, and their attire is all black. You can't see any distinct features, but they're just kind of watching you from their side of the wall.
Okay. Yeah, okay. No big deal. Then I will just continue upon my way back towards the church.
All right, you do that. Is there anything you want to do at the church specifically, or you're just heading back?
Just heading back, waiting for the call.
All right,
Again,
then I'm going to go ahead.
Taking the most, probably the most spacious route, meaning avoiding the people as he oftentimes does, the commonalities of things, and trying to continuously get that glimpse of the sky.
So there's not too many glimpses of the sky in Diarden specifically. You've had to kind of sneak your way out of the city, which is not technically legal.
I fake it. It's imaginary. It's fine.
But you imagine the skylight. The only things that serve as daylight in Diarden currently is the jadeite crystals, which range from orangish yellow to blue. The orangish yellow more meaning daylight, the blue meaning more nighttime, and it's a soft glow. Whereas there are red jadeite crystals, but you haven't seen those in action as of late. It's been and you're not sure what they mean when you have seen them in a distance.
All right.
So you continue to head on to back to your temple, or your church rather. And so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward us just a little bit, and it's going to be about 45 minutes before this dinner comes about. So we're first going to go back to the keep, and Shelton, you will hear it first, but I will have, I'm forgetting names, Ryan do a perception check to see if you hear the knocking on the common room door.
So is that like
14?
the common room door? Is that like a door separate to my own room's door?
Yeah, so there is a commons area that is... So this keep, for those listening, is not built like a normal castle. It wasn't really built to house guests, it was kind of created for a purpose of holding a ruling class. So what it was doing is there is a commons area for guests, but the rooms and the bathrooms to those rooms have their own inner doors. So you can't get into a guest door if they lock it, but everyone can share the common room, and the common room's hold up is for like 4 individual guests at a time.
So what you're saying is like a dorm room, kind of.
Kind of.
Got it.
Yeah, this is not a super nice castle. It's just kind of serves a purpose.
Okay. Shelton's gonna put his book in his pocket and head towards the door.
And then, Ryan, I will have you do a perception check for me.
Yes, that was a 14.
Thank you. Yep, so you do hear it. And you hear the knock, knock, knock. So when you open the door, it is not Ploop Throop that you see, but you see a masked figure. They wear a white mask with reddish robes that kind of have jingly medallions off them. And they go, "Good evening, sir. I'm here to collect you and the professor for tonight's dinner, but I also need to give you your medallions so that you can come and go from the keep without most issue.
Ooh.
May I come in for a moment?"
You may.
They bow very deeply. You're not sure if it's male or female under the mask.
Shelton just like mimics them.
They're a little confused by that. Sit there, have more time, but slide on in.
Question.
Yes.
Is there anything shiny on them that a person would think they can swipe off of them easily?
So they do wear, yes, I'm going to say. So I'll show the page to you. So like I said, they have like these little medallion things that hang off of them to kind of make them jingle. because without these, they'd be very quiet and you wouldn't hear them coming. It's more of a courtesy not to spook guests, but that's what's shiny on them. Otherwise, they're just deep reddish robes and the mask.
And what material of those medallions?
They're they're like a flattened piece of shiny metal. They appear gold in coloration.
Got it. Okay.
A little bit of copper here and there as well.
Continue. Sorry.
No, of course. I was going to say if you wanted to try something. Did you want to try something?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're just gonna look at that.
All right, so then the servant goes, let me go. I would like to see if the professor is ready. Just a moment. The servant goes up to the door and knocks.
As he passes by, is it just one?
There is just one servant that you can see, yes.
Okay. As they're passing by, I'm guessing this is like the medallions go all the way around the cloak?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm just going to slide a hand check just to pick one off.
Sure. Tell me what you roll.
That is a 14.
Let me see if they clock that. You are fairly certain that you get away scot-free with taking one of those medallions, as they do not seem to react to you getting that.
He's just gonna put it in his pocket.
And you got a gold piece of that, so it's a rough, smashed down gold piece.
Cool.
Ryan, you hear a knocking at your personal door.
Yeah, I think so. Ryan is going to walk up and open the door.
The servant who you've seen, you're not sure if it's the same servant, but who you've seen of the similar attire, bows deeply to you. So,
Shelton also bows.
I don't think they see that, but I love that imagery. Apologies, Professor. The hour grows near, and I have your medallions so that you may come and go from the keep without too much concern.
Thank you. Now, this medallion, is this, wasn't there also a ring of some sort, or something of that nature?
Unfortunately, the Regents 3 deemed it unnecessary for rings, so they have provided medallions instead.
And this medallion will serve the same purpose?
Correct.
Thank you. I also was wondering, are you one of the same people that escorted me? Is there a way to tell you all apart?
No, sir. That is by design.
Shelton's kind of looking over the shoulder.
Yeah, can I clock the difference between Shelton and this fellow in front of me?
Oh, of course.
Is it the same mask or a different mask, or?
They are different masks, but Shelton, if you'd like to describe your wardrobe.
Yeah, I am actually just donning, a black and gold cloak, and I have a gold mask. You can't see my eyes though, so pretty much can't see anything on my body other than just the clothes and the mask.
Perfect. Yeah, so Ryanthal looks and says, "Okay, well, that's rather confusing. I don't quite understand what the benefit is of all of you being indistinguishable, although this chap behind you seems to look rather different."
Shelton waves.
Ryanthal waves back.
And Shelton's gonna kind of go he points at the dude and he goes it's kind of pointing at him like a watch this kind of thing, and Shelton's gonna try and take another piece off of him.
Okay, go ahead and try.
Okay, that's a 30.
Jesus Christ.
And he kind of shows it. He kind of shows it to him. Is kind of laughing. He sticks it in his pocket.
They don't notice whatsoever.
Well, Dave notices because sorry, not Dave. Ryan notices because he's showing it to him.
So let me clarify. The servant notices nothing as they continue to address Ryanthal, but they do start to turn to address you both, and goes, "Well, there are some more details about the medallion I do need to review with you both, but to answer your question, sir, are you familiar with the practices of Diadem when it comes to us Zollern servants?"
Unfortunately, sad to say, you are all rather quite reclusive. No, I'm not very familiar with much of the custom down here, much at all. I was hoping that this visit would be the chance to not only see what deals are on the table and what offers are there, but also to explore and learn about your custom and maybe even if you're so gracious, learn some of how these amazing machinations work here.
You humble us, Professor. Most of these details are not my place to disclose. That would be of the Viceroy Ignatius or Ploop the butler, who's come by a few times now. But I can share... But what I can share with you is the reason you cannot distinguish us is to protect us. There are those that seek fault with those who seek employment at the keep or concern, and it is to protect us. But for further details, I would implore you to talk to Ploop or the Viceroy or any of the attendees that will be there at dinner tonight. They could relay more than I am allowed.
I see. So the purpose of not... I can understand why maybe you won't want to let people know your identity, but to not tell you all apart, it just seems... Well, very well. That's fine. We'll... I'll be like find more.
Shelton wants to like nudge Ryan, and just like when he's starting to mention like not being able to tell them apart, just kind of give you a little like little shove tap.
I love it. Yeah, and then I think Ryan's just gonna kind of go, all right, well then. So shall we continue on to whatever you fetched us for?
Oh yes, so of course, sir. These are your medallions. So she hands one to each of you. The chain itself is actually like a cloth that's embroidered with small gems into it. And then the big centerpiece, it's light and it's ornately carved and it has runes melded into the design. And as they hand them to you, they say, please wear these at all times, especially if you are coming and going from the Zolan Keep. It is recommended you wear them out in the Dolo and Laves districts as a sign of your rank so that no one may harass you if you are not with armed guard. I must also warn you that any fire magic is forbidden while in Diarden. We are a mining city, and therefore fire, if used, it must be for great reason. If you find fault with this, please bring it up with the Viceroy. He will be able to assuage any concerns.
I see. No fire magic. And how about fire-adjacent magic, like, say, lightning?
I would err on the side of caution. But again, if you wish, you can hash these details out with the Viceroy. He is very firm in what he expects.
Well, no, I think we'll simply trust that you've given us sufficient instruction and call it what it is of no fire magic, and sounds like anything else is quite fine. Thank you for being thorough in the instructions you've brought us.
They bow deeply to you and say,
Shelton bows.
Right. They clock this like, sir, you don't need to bow. You are the Archmedulus. That is unnecessary.
Ah, yes, the Medulus. Yes.
Oh my! And I think Ryanthal then bows to.
And then I bow back to Ryan.
All right, so they're going to start escorting you
Clearly
towards
Shelton
dinner.
does not know what's going on.
Perfect. They're going to start escorting you. We're going to go back to the other players. We're going to start.
Before you guys do they leave the room?
They're keeping close to you, making sure you're following, but they're in front of you.
Oh, okay. So we're like following them.
Yeah, they're expecting you to follow.
Okay. How far away are they from us?
Like a foot or two.
So I can't whisper to Ryan.
If you want to stealth step back a little bit, as long as you don't get too far, because they are going to periodically check to make sure you're there.
Yeah, I just kind of want to drop back with Ryan a little bit so I can whisper to him. Shelton kind of goes, "We can tell which ones are different now," and he kind of shows him the little medallions that are missing from his cloak, and he kind of goes, puts his finger up to his mask and goes, "Shh," does a shushing sound.
And I think
these are from behind too. He pulled the ones from behind.
Perfect. Yeah, so I think Ryanthal just nods and says, "So, what brings you to the keep? What business do you have here?"
Well, stuff and poop shoot. Shelton has no idea what is going on or what in this entirety of places. He's just kind of like, does no idea what to say.
You can make a quick insight check if you want, like, as you're talking about why you're here. With disadvantage.
Oh, with disadvantage?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was a good roll, too. That's an 8.
Yeah, you're not sure. Your brain's still pretty scrambled from last 24 hours and all the fuzziness there.
Yeah, I'm the medullus, so just doing medullus things.
Very well, very well. And the mask. I'm not familiar with where you might come from, your culture, things of that nature. What's the purpose behind the mask? Is it normal for people to wear masks where you come from?
Well, being the medullus, gotta hide my face from people, because safety reasons.
Sure. Safety reasons seems to be the common answer. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
Cool.
Alright guys, I'm going to cut you off there just for a little bit to get to the other players. So we're actually going to go to Quin'i'th first, over at the Twilight Church. You're going to get a knock on your door.
I respond. Simply enter.
You see a similar cloak figure to what the other characters see. They are in these deep, rich red robes, the medallions jingling across their chest all the way around. There's a couple hanging from either side of the cowl around their face, and that same white masks with 2 eye holes and slits going down. More of the baggier type of pants and closed tight shoes. Can't see any skin. As they enter and bow and go, "Sir Quin'i'th, we have come to collect you for tonight's dinner. Are you ready? Do you need us to carry any of your personal belongings?"
I stand and I look around, pat my belongings that I have on me, and yes, I think I'm ready. I have everything about me.
This figure rises to their full height. They're about average height and goes, "Very well. Right this way, please. We do have an escort." And if you come out with them, you will see 3 clockwork soldiers. These ones are about 6 foot tall. They are the most common type of clockwork you've seen in Diarden. They patrol the main streets. They're mostly in the Dolo district. They do help a little bit with the tunnels and the mines, but they stand at the ready in a small formation as the servant steps into their midst, waiting for you.
So, how many are there?
There are 3.
Okay, I follow in behind them.
One of them slows down to come up behind you. They're kind of making a triangle perimeter around you too, as the servant steps up to walk slightly behind you, but next to you at the same time, and goes, "I also have your medallion that will be necessary to come and go from the Zalern Keep. If you could wear it," and he gives you the same situation of no fire magic. Wear it when you're leaving the Zalern Keep. It is recommended to wear it when you go into the other districts as a sign of your status to kind of keep harassers at bay. And he offers it for you to put on.
I take and put it on.
Is this your first time coming to the Zalern Keep?
It is. What can I expect?
Well, as one of the esteemed guests of the Regent 3 and the Viceroy, Ignatius, you will expect a great display of what are the newest creations that the Clockwork Master has brought. I am not one of those who will be in attendance tonight, so I do not know the details. I will know when the convention takes place in a few days' time, but you are one of the privileged few that gets to see it first.
Very well, very well. Anything else that I should be aware of or being prepared for? Others in attendance?
Yes, sir. We are actually on our way to go pick up another of the attendees from the Aranon Church, Sir Edmund. He will be joining us in our travels to the keep. In your particular set of quarters, which you will share a commons room but have your own private space, there is also the Professor Ryanthal Raveneros from Valsh, as well as the Archmedulis from Gallimore. Others will be in attendance, but they do not share your rooms. They have taken up residence on the other side of the keep. They did not tell me their name specifically, but I was supposed to relay who would be in your party. But I do know one is from the Neo Kingdom, one is from Cleric, and the other is from Gallimore.
Interesting. Very well.
And so they continue to walk on, and pretty soon you are coming up on the Church of Aranon in the Dolo district, which, compared to the Twyla Church, it is definitely nicer. Your church is more specifically towards the Laves, which is kind of the poorer district. It's where a lot of the very fresh refugees live, where the miners congregate as they go into the mines. You're kind of on that border between the two. Whereas Aranon's church, which he is a forge god, is, as I said before, in high esteem. So his church has finely cut stone, metal engravings hammered into it throughout. It is a simple, clean building, but it is definitely well maintained. Okay. Unfortunately, compared to the Twyla Church, which is a bit smaller, uses more of the scrap materials available, etc. And Edmund, you hear a knock on the main doors.
Do I figure it's about time to get going?
Yes.
Then I will collect my things, and I will walk to the main entrance.
You see a cloaked figure, one of the same red garb, the medallions. You do see Quin'i'th and the 3 clockwork soldiers as well, but it is the servant that steps up, bows to you. Good evening, sir. Are you ready to depart? Do you need us to help with any of your belongings?
No, I have everything that I need. Oh, well met. And I bow my head to him and the others there. Do I know Quin'i'th? Or have I seen him around?
Make a history check or a perception. Yeah, make a history check to see you have seen him, but as to if you know who he is.
15.
Or they are. 15? Yeah, 15, you definitely know that he is of the Twyla Church. He lives there over near the Laves. You've seen him around. You see him there for a moment, and then you just don't sometimes. You just kind of blink and he's gone once in a while.
Good to know.
But he's been there longer than you have.
Okay. Cool. I specifically give a nod to him, seeing as I know that he's a fellow church, good deity supporter, especially down here. Before looking back to the cloaked guy and saying, "I'm good to go. If you would like to lead the way."
Bruce, did you want to make a
comment? I was going to say he nods back in respect, of course.
The servant goes, "Of course, sir. I did need to give you this, though." And from his pocket, deep in his robes, he pulls out the medallion. He explains the situation to you. This is required to come and go from the Zalaran Keep. We do have rooms prepared, but if you need to leave for whatever reason and come back, this will be your way in. If you could please wear it. There is restrictions, the fire magic. Be very cautious of using adjacent magics to fire magic. Talk to the virus sword with concerns, etc.
Kaylee, how far away is the keep from where we are?
If you go the most direct path through the market, it's maybe a 20-ish minute walk.
Okay,
20,
so
maybe
it's
30 minutes, depending on traffic.
So it's right here. So I'd look to him and ask, is there a reason why we would be spending the night?
It is purely for the comforts of being an esteemed guest of the Region 3. You may decline if you wish, but it won't be seen as any fault. But we were told to prepare the rooms.
Well, your accommodations are appreciated.
They bow to you, of course, sir. And if anything is not to any party's liking, he looks at Quin'i'th as well. please do let us know. Our staff will take great pains to ensure you are comfortable. And he also relays to you the other party members that are going to be sharing the commons area, your own private rooms, that there are others attendees, etc., etc.
I put on the medallion and fall in line next to Quin'i'th.
Perfect. The servant will walk ahead of you, and then the 3 guards, one's in the back of you, 2 are kind of the outer side, but the servant is ahead of you by a couple of feet.
I look over to Quin'i'th. I'm like, how have you been? How is everything at the Church of Twyla?
Things have been going very smoothly and advancing quite well.
Excellent. That's good to hear.
I put my hand on his shoulder and say, thank you for asking.
Of course. And if you need anything from the Church of Varanon, feel free to let me know. I'll do everything I can in my power to assist you.
Again, the nod.
Cool. All right. As you guys are passing through, and once in a while the servant's answering a question for you, both of you, could you just make a perception check for me?
7.
Okay. And how about Bruce? 17.
17.
Okay. Edmund, you're kind of excited. This is your first ever invite to the Zalern Keep. You've never been anywhere past the barrier wall, which is the shimmering column that surrounds the entirety of the keep. So this is kind of thrilling for you, being able to ask questions and talk to as you're going through town. Quin'i'th, you're engaging in the small talk, asking questions here and there, but you notice 2 things. You notice that as people are walking by, they're definitely side-eyeing you, but more so the company both you and Edmund are keeping. You are aware that people in this city are not overly fond of clockworks, especially the soldier types, the ones that are used for combat, because there's been a lot of issues of they're not human and therefore sometimes use too much force when dealing with problems. So anytime they are seen out in the main areas, everyone's tensions kind of rise, especially in the laves where you tend to frequent more. Dolo, it's a little calmer, but you still catch the occasional side-eye, semi-glare at the machines more than so yourselves.
All right.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's all right. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. The second thing you notice is walking parallel to you guys, kind of going through the crowds that are at the edge of the road, which is the main market road that kind of is the most direct path to the keep. There is a figure kind of walking in parallel with you guys. It's looking between you 2 and the servant, but mostly at the servant. About maybe 20 feet away.
I put my hand on Edmund's shoulder again and nod in the individual's direction.
I look over that way.
At the same time, I cast guidance.
So you both, now that you're both really paying attention, they do have a hood up, but their clothes are a bit ratty. They could be a miner. They could be just someone that could be fresh off the cart from one of either the Neo Kingdom or from one of the other 2 cities, Caleric or Volsh, which border this city. Their clothes are a little more dirty, a little more well-worn. Their cloak is up. The face is scruffy. It is definitely male, that you can see out of the corner of your eye whenever he kind of turns his face to kind of look in all your directions. Eventually he does notice you guys staring, and he kind of looks away and kind of bleeds into the crowd a little bit more. But he's not being very stealthy. You can still kind of track him. But he's keeping pace, and he's getting more ahead of you to be parallel with the servant.
Do I have anything? I do not. So I will watch him for a bit and see where he's going and note that he's trying to get ahead of us. Before I look over to Quin'i'th, I'm like, Odd, have you ever seen them before?
Have I?
Roll a history check with disadvantage. Only because you see people come and go from this city all the time. Yeah, unfortunately, they're not ringing a bell. You see a lot of scruffy humanoids come and go. They all look the same after a while. You're starting to come up onto a turn in the road that is going to start leading into a downward, metallic staircase. By the way, the grounds throughout anywhere in the Dolo and Zollern Keep is made of pure metal. It is some places rusty. There is a little bit of dust that's collected over the years, but it is mostly metallic giant pipes or grate systems. And you are starting to descend down, a set of stairs that are maybe 15 feet long at a pretty sharp angle, when all of a sudden this figure just kind of makes a beeline for the servant. Not super aggressive, but like fast pace. And the servant hasn't clocked them. Like they're going to cut off their direction.
Do they have a weapon out or anything like that?
You don't see a weapon.
Okay, but they are moving quickly?
They are moving quickly to cut off the path of the servant. And they're just looking very specifically at the servant.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I grab my shield off my back and raise it as a holy symbol, and I will cast Nature's Wrath as my channel divinity.
Okay, what does that do?
So, as an action, you can cause a spectral vine to spring up and reach for a creature within 10 feet of you. So I'm going to rush forward, and I'm going to do that once he gets within 10 feet of you, of me. The creature must succeed on a strength or dexterity saving throw, its choice, DC 14, or be restrained. You repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, the end.
Okay. It succeeds with a 19.
So I was going to say the same. So what I was doing is dashing, basically putting myself in front of the servant. Okay. 2-3 quick steps to put myself directly in front of the servant.
Okay, you'll do that. So this is what happens first. So since Edmund got his shot off, you go to cast that, and the figure, the man, notices very quickly and jumps back out of reach of the vine. Whereas at the same time, the servant kind of missteps and stops as Quin'i'th gets in front of them and is very bewildered suddenly, like, what is going on? And then the human or humanoid figure, his cloak flies off. You do see it is a human. It kind of looks between all of you and goes, Becca, I've been trying to get a hold of you. And then he's trying to look at the servant. The servant just you don't see an expression, but the servant's kind of looking between them and the soldiers, the clockworks, and he goes, I don't know you. And then the soldiers, on some unknown cues, raise up their shields, swords drawn, and come to make a barrier in front with Quin'i'th to get in front of you guys. The person backs off pretty quickly, says their name one more time, Becca, please, it's been months. And seeing that they're being pushed back, takes off into the crowds, and one of the soldiers takes off after them.
In the response that the servant made, how much do I believe?
You can roll an insight check if you like.
I will also roll an insight check with that guidance.
All right.
15 for me. Nope, that's a 5. I rolled a 1. I believe him. But she doesn't know who Beck is. This guy's a weirdo.
I'm kind of looking over my shoulder through the corner of my eye at him, at the servant.
You pretty certain that they don't know who that is, and they're a little exasperated and flustered, even from their body language, kind of I apologize for that. I don't know who they mistake me to be. And then you see your snapper fingers and the two guards that are still with you relax and kind of go back on. One goes behind and one kind of stays off to the side on the left and goes, as you continue walking, he goes, sometimes there are those who go to work for the keep, and not everyone is ready for the commitment that takes. And some of our loved ones that don't get to see their loved ones for the safety of protecting the family. Unfortunately, they mistook me for someone that I am not. And if there's no questions or concerns to that, they will continue to guide you down to the Zollern Keep. A little more quickly this time, looking over their shoulder a little bit more.
I do ask them, has this happened before to you?
Not to I specifically, but there have been instances where servants have been caught out on their own, and whether it be by jealous lover or anger for working for the ruling class, it can happen, and it has happened, but not to me specifically.
And what's your name?
Sandra.
Do you know this Becca he was looking for?
I do not mean to deceive you, sir, but we do not share our true names.
So your name isn't Sandra. You lied to me? Smitey. No, I'm kidding. Then I will refer to you by the name you've given me.
As you see. And you guys continue to the keep without much other issue. Eventually, that guard does come back. You don't see blood on them or anything. Either they've lost the man or another guard is taking care of the matter. And you come up to the outer of the Zollern Keep, which anyone can visit the outer of the Zollern Keep outside of the shimmering barrier that protects the keep itself. There are a few shops out here, but what's most distinct about this area is that the ground here is purely giant pipes. And when I say giant, I mean these are football field wide pipes that circle around the keep. There are vent ports everywhere, but they are closed, and the shops are built atop of these pipes. And when you walk here, you do feel the slight thrumming of whether it be magma, steam, or water, as it courses through and feeds the rest of the city the life that it needs to sustain itself in the darkness. But yeah, you do pass by a couple of shops. The first one you see is An Honest Apothecary, and you also see the Glowing Drugar. There are a few more shops around the other side that you can't quite read the names of as you pass by them and come upon the shimmering force field, to which the servant holds up their hand, and the ring is displayed to the Watcher clockwork drones that kind of come down, look at it. The light on their eye glows, their ocular lens, I should say, and then it kind of goes dim, and the servant passes through. And she turns to you as she passes through and say, "Please show your medallions to the Watcher so that you may pass through."
I raise it up around my neck.
The Watcher comes up, kind of a little above your head. The bright eye glows red, and it looks down at the medallion. The medallion actually shimmers, kind of a dull orangey glow, and then both fade, and she goes, "You can pass through now."
I nod.
She looks to Quin'i'th to see if you follow suit.
Absolutely.
Okay. The same thing happens to you, the glow of both lights, and she gestures for you to follow through.
All right.
And you are within the Zollern Keep. Now, the Zollern Keep itself is not a super tall building, as also Ryanthal is aware, because he was able to see some of the outside. It is a 2-story building with some towers on each compass corner that are about 4 stories tall. But the 2 stories is the first floor, the second floor, which is slightly smaller and is also built into a rock wall that is still not excavated out of. It's almost like a giant stone that juts up, and then beyond it, behind it, is where the pipes would continue to burrow into the wall that would feed into the Dolargistic up higher, and then to the laves that are even higher. This whole city is built like the Kola burrow hole, or a fracking site, is how it's in. And everything is built in rings around from the Zollern Keep. But you do go in. The first floor, you go into the entrance hall, and immediately it's kind of underwhelming. This castle, Quin'i'th would know specifically, is not original in most of its parts.
All right.
It was crafted some 40-ish years ago and finalized within the last 15 years. It's very plain of adornments. It's purely just the entrance hall. It's wide, it's stone and metal. No pictures of any past royalty or grand artworks other than maybe some older models of clockworks that have been created in the past. But you are soon escorted. So you are escorted down to down the hallway, and you turn, and you see another smaller archway of a hallway. It's maybe 20 feet down. So this is a cutoff from what you assume would lead straight to the throne room, but this room is where they're going to take you. And the clockwork soldiers stop at the beginning of this hall. And the servant goes, "They will not be accompanying us further than this. They are not allowed. I can either take you straight to the banquet hall, or I can show you to your rooms. Which would you prefer? It will still be about another 15-20 minutes before everything's prepared, but it is up to you."
You can take me to the banquet hall. I would appreciate that.
Great. Let's follow through to that.
Of course. And just as you say that, around the corner, escorted by their own servant, you see a professor in their decked out robes and high collar, elfish, and you see another figure in a brilliant gold and black cloak with a golden mask coming down the hall. And you two see a cleric adorned in the symbol of Twyla, and a paladin adorned in the symbol of Aranon.
Shelton's just gonna keep walking past them, if that's the direction.
Okay.
Ryan is going to see these two and just roll his eyes and carry on. No, but not greet them or anything of that nature.
Y'all are rude as fuck. I love it.
Did we just get mean girled?
I think so.
Some people work for their magic, you know.
As Shelton is passing them, can he eye them up and down to see if they have anything loose on their bodies that one might want to swipe off of them?
You can make a perception check if you'd like, and if you two
Such as a medallion necklace?
Yeah, if you wanna. Are you going to try to swipe, or you just want to see if they have it?
I'm just observing as I'm passing them.
Okay, if you see, you see it, because these have been, like, you've been told that these need to be on display when you're in the Zalran Keep, so you do see it on them.
Okay, anything else that would be easily just kind of plucked?
I'm going to say you're going to need to roll a perception check for that, so then the gentleman will tell you what they have on if it's high enough. Or they can try to hide it.
That is a 1.
You're pretty, like, distracted by, like, trying not to blow the fact that you don't know anything. So you just see the medallions.
I'm focused on how the Medullus would be walking, like a normal person would be walking, and I'm just distracted.
Perfect. The two servants do nod to each other real quick, and the one that was escorting Ryanthal and Shelton does peel off and heads in a different direction, whereas the one that was with Edmund and Quin'i'th stays with you. And they lead you down the corridor. But once they realize that maybe you two of you are not quite as close, they'll kind of pause, and this one is Sandra, as you come to know them as, and goes, "This way, please, sirs, if you would."
Wait, who are they talking to?
So you two are kind of already ahead. She stopped to make sure the other two are coming. So you and Ryanthal are ahead. She stopped to make sure that Edmund and Quin'i'th are not falling behind after being snubbed.
So I just kind of want to lean over to Ryan and go, "Hey, did you see they were wearing the necklaces like us?"
Yes, I suspect these are some of the other guests at the event.
What a bunch of nerds.
Yeah, someone had told me in my youth that magic would be so easy that you could just, I don't know, promise to do good or something like that, and suddenly you have magic powers. My goodness. Travesty of it all, truly.
Yeah, magic and powers. I have those.
I would certainly expect that you would be trained or at least schooled
Are
in
you
some
guys
basic
being
magics.
quiet?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Just checking. So you two. So
yes, I'd
Edmund
expect
and
a
Quin'i'th,
gentleman
you
of
can
your
hear this.
upbringing. I suspect a gentleman of your upbringing would have been trained somewhat, even if you don't have the capability of it, at least the basic knowledge of proper magical arts.
Oh, of course. I, not all of us can be just gifted by some higher power, their powers, you know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know that I'd call it gifted. It's more like selling out, I think.
That's fair.
This is when the servant turns and says, "Sirs, I would ask you to refrain from this squabbling, especially as we enter the room of the Regent 3, as you are his esteemed guests, and should act as such."
Shelton coughs and goes, older boys.
I think
The mask just looks at you, and you can't see an expression, but there might be an emotion of great exasperation.
Oh, and don't worry. There's no squabbling here. There's no hostility. Everybody makes silly choices when they're young.
Shelton laughs.
But it's not a point of contention.
Is this the same one that doesn't have 2 medallions on their back?
No, this is a different one. The one that escorted you had walked away after they greeted this one, who's Sandra, but that the other two know her as.
Okay. I want to pluck one off of them when they turn around and keep walking.
Okay. Currently, she's kind of looking at both sets of you, both sets of groups, so you'll have to wait till she's, like, walking again. But what are Edmund and Quin'i'th doing in response to all this?
I'll take the short one, you take the tall one. No, I'm kidding.
Are you, though? Are you kidding?
Yeah, I don't think that Edmund would care if someone's running their mouth, because that's all they're doing is running their mouth. So Quin'i'th may feel differently, but Edmund just disregards them.
Yep, exactly the same. Absolutely don't care about a word that's coming out of their mouths. I hear it, but it means nothing to me.
All right, so then once everyone's moving in the right direction, you guys are a little more closer together, she will take the front of the pack, the door. She's about to go open a pair of double doors for you all. If Shelton would like to try and make his sneakiness.
I did. I got 31.
God, okay, let me see. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere close enough for that perception check. Nope. Yeah, you take a copper medallion off of this one. They do not notice as they open the doors, step aside, and bow and gesture you all through.
I kind of show Ryan. Just put it in my pocket.
Ryan just kind of smirks and nods.
So as you all enter into this main room, unless someone had something else to say or do.
So we're all kind of next to each other as we're kind of entering the room now?
Yep, so you and Ryanthal are in front, Quin'i'th and Edmund are a little bit behind you, but you're pretty close together.
Can I prepare a reaction
to
noticing if Edmund and or Quin'i'th ever become distracted by anything?
Yes, you may. If you stay in close proximation to them, yes, you may.
Cool.
All right, so you four enter on the west side of this great hall. So, like the Castle of the Hole, the Great Hall is a testament to the Clockwork Master's preferences. There aren't many embellishments, not even of past regions are marked on the walls or any refinery that way. The tables are long, elegant wood with metal engravings up the legs. There is a simplistic but lovely cloth to cover them. The silverware has been polished to a mirror-fine shine. But again, this castle is made for a purpose, not so much for entertaining guests. So what they have is minimal, but it is of a fine class. There are 2 archways currently sealed that are down below where you guys are standing. So you're about 15 feet up around a wall, and then another 10 feet up there as you're kind of walking down into your seating areas. And then to the north is a raised dais-like area that has 3 seats, which you assume is where the Regent 3 will be seated, along with some seats behind them that are a little higher up. Already in here, in that specific area to the north, is an older dwarf that is starting to bald on his head. He's taller than your average dwarf, very robust, big bushy eyebrows, a thick beard, kind of a very stern expression as he's seated with a Zollern servant, both cloaked on either side of him, and the chair next to him. And in the chair next to him is a young girl, very early teens at best. And she has blonde hair that is in 2 pigtails. She's got those chubby cheeks, a little bit of freckles that distinctly are not on the figure, the male next to her. She wears a shawl over her. And looking about the room, little bored, kind of just looking at something in her lap that you can't quite see. To the east, opposite of you, though, you do see 3 other figures, who you assume are potentially the other representative that were spoken about. You see, first, a tiefling, androgynous in nature, you can't quite tell male or female, what they identify as, etc. In recline, feet on the table, just kind of picking at their tooth, one of their canines for a second, and just looks wholly bored of this whole situation. They do have an eye patch and a couple of scars on their face. Very confident in the way they look about the room, though, inspecting anyone. And they definitely clock your presence as you come in. But don't say anything. They go back to having a conversation with their 2 other compatriots. You see a very, very pale elf with a dark hood and cloak over her body. It is blackish gray with adornments all the way down of constellations and swirls and various designs embroidered into it. Her eyes do not have... They are almost mirrors, as in you don't see a pupil. It's almost like a clear moon-like reflection there. And next to her is a half-elf gentleman, dark of skin, braided hair pulled back, intricate tattoos across his forehead and features, a pair of glasses, monocle-like glasses hangs around his chest. There is a couple of books in front of him. One is partially open as he's pointing to things to the pale woman on the page, going back and forth between the tiefling and her. And they're just currently sitting, seem to be just got here a little bit before you. The servant shows you to your side of the area, and on the west side presents the table. The table is long, and then there is space between you, so you do not want to be too close to your compatriots, but you are still all at the same table. And
question, do we recognize them to be like competition of some sorts?
If you'd like to perceive them as such, you could. Actually, let me make a history check with disadvantage.
Oh.
Let's see if you remember.
My time to shine with my -1 in history. Well, that's a 4 and then an 8.
Yeah, you think they're for some reason you feel like they're competition.
Okay. Sorry, continue.
No worries. The servant turns, Sandra, as you now will all know her by, bows her head and says, "Please be seated, but you are also welcome to go and speak to the other guests across the way. The Viceroy is amiable to conversation if you wish to approach him and his daughter, Agna. I don't know if she'll be much of a talkative mood, but please do feel free to mingle, and we will alert you when the Region 3 will be joining us and when the festivities will begin."
Shelton wants to see what Ryan's doing.
Does the Viceroy look occupied at the moment?
Nope, he's just kind of sitting there, occasionally chatting to his daughter.
Yeah, I think I'm going to... At this point, I think it's a little bit too soon to go asking for favors, so I think just going to kind of look around at everybody and I'll just have a seat.
Shelton's gonna take a seat next to him and pull out his own book and start pointing to the book showing Ryan, kind of like mimicking what they're doing over there. Make it look like we're doing stuff.
Perfect.
But he like has it up. He has it upside down while he's showing it to Ryan. And he's just pointing at stuff.
Do I need to roll for Ryan to know what this is? Or I'm assuming Ryan just would immediately see this and be like, oh shit. Okay.
Yes, it's upside down, yes, you do. Because the outside of the book is inornate. There's nothing on except it's leather. So it's as the pages flip and he's showing you stuff you would have to check for.
Gotcha, but the book itself is not. Okay, gotcha. Okay. What should I roll? A medicine check? Like what do I roll for?
Medicine or Arcana, one of the two.
Okay. So with a 13, it's a book. Do I understand that it's being currently held upside down?
You definitely understand it's being held upside down, but you're just seeing a bunch of pictures of like herbs and fauna.
Shelton points at one and he's like,
Yeah, I think Brian is just going to kind of glance around real quick, and if nobody else can see the pages, then he's just going to let it go.
Does anyone else want to see if they can perception check the fact that our Archmedulus here is reading a book upside down?
Like, no one's going to be able to tell from the back of it, right?
But if he's showing you and the other two are next to you on your side, they might see it.
Oh, they might see it.
Mm-hmm.
If they might see it, I'm going to whisper to Shelton and just say, it's upside down. I don't want to draw attention to it, but you're holding it upside down.
Sheldon goes, oh, and he flips it over. He goes, that's much easier.
But if Bruce and Johnny want a perception check that real quick, feel free while I lose my mind.
Edmund isn't paying attention to them. They've already blown us. They've already mean girled us once and blew us off, so they're irrelevant to me at this point.
Okay.
Exactly the same. So don't care. More pervading the room, actually.
Okay.
I do thank Sandra for escorting us here, and then I make my way over to the Viceroy.
Okay, perfect. Bows her head, and then as she passes Quin'i'th, who you're kind of closest to the door when everyone's heading. So the way I see it was Ryanthal, Shelton, Edmund, and then you. As she passes you, you notice something fall out of her robes onto the floor next to your chair. Very small, very distinct.
Is it within my reach?
You would have to bend down to get it, but yes.
Yeah,
like bend over your chair. Okay. Right, you pick it up.
What do I see?
It is a folded piece of paper.
I discreetly put it in my sleeve.
Perfect. If anyone wants to try a perception check, they can, but it'll be disadvantaged since Edmund would be the only one who would have a straight roll because he was next to you, but he just got up. So if the other two would like to, I doubt they will, but you can try to perception check it at disadvantage.
I'm still reading.
Cool.
Well, looking at it.
Staring at pages, got it.
Yeah, I think Ryanthal is just going, oh shit, he's an idiot. Fuck. And is a little bit preoccupied with this
his alliances. Okay.
With now that he's found the true form of his ally, yes, he's questioning some things and a bit preoccupied at the moment.
Fantastic. All right, Edmund, you start to approach the Viceroy, who immediately clocks you, and so does his daughter, because whether they've been sitting there for a while or a little bit, you get the distinction no one's really come up to him in the last few minutes. And there's no other reason to get up, whether it's to talk to them or the people across the room. And he stands up as you approach.
I walk forward, and I bow my head respectfully. Like, good evening, sir. Is everything treating you well so far? I would want to thank you for your hospitality.
So the Viceroy, Ignatius Barrelback. He stands up. He is definitely quite a bit shorter than you. Still taller, pretty tall for a dwarf of mountain descent. He looks for you, nods his head a little bit at you as he looks up at you with his really steely eyes, and goes, "On behalf of the Region 3, it is a pleasure to receive you, sir. I trust the travel here was smooth."
Of course, nothing that far out of the ordinary occurred.
Fantastic. And you and your church are prepared for negotiations should they come arise of tonight's events?
Out of character, am I set to negotiate here? Or is this the first time I'm hearing about that?
You're set to negotiate if necessary.
Okay.
You're aware of what's going to happen tonight.
Okay.
So.
Then I agree. If need be, if things come to that, I am willing to speak on behalf of my church.
Indeed. I must say, I am surprised the Church of Aranon would seek interest in our creations, whereas in the past there has been much concern for the implementation of clockwork soldiers and the like.
Times change. We're willing to hear out what your plan is. We are the shield. We are here to protect. If the clockworks would assist us in protecting, then it seems that we can come to an understanding and an agreement.
He nods at you. Go ahead.
Just gonna say, does Ryanthal overhear this? Rain over
You're a little far. They're not talking quietly, but you're catching bits and pieces.
Okay.
All right. He goes, yes, with the concerns of previous years of the trade agreements and negotiations, we think this year's models will perhaps shed a better light on what Diardan can offer the church. But if there are questions regarding the creations or anything to do with that nature, do not hesitate to approach me or one of the servants. They will guide you to me when I have time outside of my typical duties.
Of course, Ignatius. I appreciate your openness, and if I have any questions, I will bring them to you, but I'm sure you will cover everything in fine detail. I extend my gloved hand to him again.
He shakes it with a firm grip, kind of one solid shake.
I nod to him and I offer his daughter a warm smile before bowing my head and backing away from them.
She looks up at you and gives you a very shy smile before looking down at her pet in her lap. And just starts stroking it.
What is it?
It looks like a cat.
Okay.
It's a black feline creature.
We love when the DM laughs like that.
It looks up with you with big reddish eyes and meows very sweetly, and then goes back to purring in her lap.
I turn undead from this shaggy, red-eyed, weird-ass looking cat.
Yeah. To be clear, this is not a cat, people.
Explain to the players what it looks like.
I thought I did, but I'll do it again.
I would like to say that if any of our patron folks have seen my cat, it's basically just my cat with red eyes, really. A nice little all black, a little bit straggly.
If your cat was part giraffe.
Yeah, maybe.
Satanic giraffe.
Do you turn undead on it?
No.
Okay.
But,
just making sure.
Oh, he said it.
But, is it Fae, by chance?
It is not.
Okay. Just a weird-ass looking evil cat. Let it go.
Perfect. And, she scratches it on her chin as you walk away and stuff. She's very content with it.
I
What
go find an empty seat, and I sit down there.
Perfect. Quin'i'th, what are you doing? You just watched Edmund go talk to the Viceroy. You caught bits and pieces as well. You all did.
Yeah, I'm staying back.
Trade agreements and all that.
Yeah, I'm staying back from Edmund about 5 feet, giving him room. As he nods and acknowledges them, I do the same and proceed to sit either next to him or somewhere near him.
Next to Edmund.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so you don't go speak to the Viceroy or anything. You're just with him.
No, I'm just in listening distance and taking it in.
Okay, the Viceroy does clock you. A little curious why you didn't come up, but is not questioning it.
Not yet.
Mm-hmm. All right. So as you guys are all sitting there for a little bit, unless anyone wants to do anything else. So all of a sudden, across the room, either tired of the current conversation or just tired of waiting in general, the tiefling across the room who has snowy white hair and grayish skin and the horns that are gray turn into black points, stands up. They're in pretty fine attire, almost like nobility, but they definitely carry a long sword at their hip as they start to circle around the walkway, urging the others to join, which they do not, and continue their conversation. She bows to the viceroy, spares a few words for him, and comes up to your table and goes, "Well, you must be the other guests invited to this little shindig." And then they bow and go, "I am Orion Alt. I'm from the Neil Kingdom. To who do I owe the pleasure of company tonight?" Looks at each of you in turn.
How close is she?
She's on the other side of your guys' table.
Okay.
She, he, they.
Shelton is going to go, "I am Archmedulus."
Where you try. She kind of clocks that you almost said a name. She goes, "Well, Archmedulus, it is a pleasure. From what realm do you hail from? Your colors speak of Gallimore, but gold and black are not
Please.
uncommon."
You can call me Arch. Yes, from Gallimore.
She raises an eyebrow at the arch part, as you see fit. "Tell me, have you not spoken to Noir Snow? She seems a tad miffed that you haven't gone and made yourself known to her yet. I tried to get her to come over, but she just wasn't having it. Something about decorum."
Well, as you can see, I am very into this book in front of me that you are currently interrupting. So
Make a
I'm gonna
deception check.
Go back to that.
Make a
Okay.
deception check.
That's a 14.
Alright, hang on. We'll see if she believes that.
Can I give advantage?
He's already rolled, otherwise I would have let you.
Okay. Next time.
She seems to believe you're very much into that book. And kind of nods and goes, "I hope it is a fine title. Perhaps you and I can go over its details after all this is concluded. This nonsense."
Indubitably.
She looks to Ryanthal next. He, she, they, whatever pronouns you prefer to call them. Nods her head, inclines it to him, and goes, "From the Majocracy of Volsh, if I'm correct."
Yes, in fact. Ryanthal Ravnaros at your service.
Hmm.
Pleased to see that you've heard of the college and are quite familiar if you've recognized me just from my robes alone.
It is my duty to recognize all those who hold power, knowledge, and high regard for teaching the young the arts. Tell me, why, without being crass about it, you are, I assume, well renowned, but I have not heard your name out in the Arcana discussions as of late, at least in the Neo Kingdom. You know we're backwater fools. What's some of the accomplishments you have offered?
Well, as you said with the college, most of it is teaching, and unfortunately with the dangers of magic that hard-working people come by honestly, there's a certain level of danger as well, and ensuring that the children remain safe, things of that. So very rarely do I have the opportunity to unfortunately leave the college. This was quite a wonderful opportunity to come and learn a bit more about Diarden, and I certainly hope the opportunity to learn about some of these machinations and understanding how these interact with some of the more traditional magics. But yes, it's not much of a name of myself, I'm afraid, at this point. A few papers on there's this wonderful glyphs and runes, a couple papers on those, their various uses and misuses, but not much that people would read outside of the scholarly circles.
Perhaps you will share with me some of your works if there is still time before the convention concludes in a few days' time. But
yes, it's truly a thing of wizards of, hard work, but honestly, preparation is really the key to truly survival for anybody, but wizards mostly.
Speaking of survival, and she looks to the rest of the party, all of you kind of collectively, I heard a rumor that tonight's presentations will bridge exactly that. As you know, I know that the Volsh Kingdom's been a little ticky-tacky about letting machines run defenses and safeguard their people with resistances to certain magics, as the soldiers are. But tonight supposedly is supposed to bridge both the concerns and the benefits of the machines. Have you, any of you, any take on this?
Shelton's not listening to anything she's saying. He's just looking at the book.
And Ryan's going to say, well, the interesting thing about magic is there's lots of basic magical attacks. You know, the common folk think of mages and sorcerers as being able to cast fire bolts, or, of course, that's illegal here, but, other similar flashy, immediate spells. What people don't often think about is what if rather than using enlarge, for example, on a target, you would choose to do enlarge on maybe your opponent's weapon only, or, things of that nature, that the soldier may be able to avoid a certain effect, but can his weapon, can his armor? Certainly you've heard of some feats where rather than attacking the individual directly, some mages will simply make his armor screaming hot, boil him alive, if you will. So there's quite a few interesting ways to get around magical immunities. I'm quite interested to see what they have in mind and how far-reaching this might, prevent magics from being effective and, effectively losing my whole life's work. But we'll worry about that when we get there.
I doubt that anyone will be getting rid of the scholars anytime soon. And what about you two? She turns to Edmund and Quin'i'th. What do you feel about these rumors of what we might see tonight?
I look over to Quin'i'th to let him answer first.
Orion Alt, you said.
Orion Alt, but yes.
Orion Alt. I stand. Quin'i'th. As far as the Church of Twyla is concerned, here in Diardon, we are collecting facts at this point. Not much to speculate yet, or at least not to share.
It is a good choice to deal in just facts. It's a pity when the rumors become true, though, and catch you off guard. I'm assured you could handle yourself, Quin'i'th.
He smiles and nods.
Well then. Oh, does someone have something to say?
What are these rumors you've continuously mentioned in your short time here?
Well, as you know, in past years, many of the kingdoms would not trade with Diardon on their clockwork creations, especially the soldiers. Too unpredictable, and there's speculation that they would listen to their owners, would rather be forced to listen to their creators. And as you can see within a kingdom, those who are not loyal to the ruling class of said kingdom could prove to be a liability. But tonight, supposedly, there is an offer to bridge that gap. I can't say I've seen the creation myself, but I've seen more human guards come through the back entrance of this place than I've seen anywhere in the city as of late. But I've only been here for a few days, so perhaps I'm just speculating.
I offer a smile, like, you do seem to have your ear to the pulse of everything going on here in your short time here. Thank you for that information. I look forward, and I'm excited to find out what revelations will be unveiled this evening.
Indeed. Well, I hate to be that person, but should get back to the other party. I am sure Noir Snow's ears are bleeding from the royal researchers, Rakesh Pravaka, or however you say his name, ramblings. I bid you all adieu. Orion Alt takes their leave of you all, and as they do, you see a pair of doors open up behind where the Viceroy is sitting, and you see him turn to look. but instead of like the Regent 3 coming out just yet, you see, okay, I'm gonna butcher the name, and apologies, someone correct me now, a Koatoa. Some of you recognize him already. This is Ploop Throop, the butler, as he waddles on out with a woman who is not masked, but is wearing the same rich red robes of the servants. Both come up on either side of the Viceroy and his daughter. Ploop Throop taking the Viceroy's side, the woman taking Agna's side. They're talking to each other real quick, whispering. The Viceroy gives a nod, and the two masked servants behind them all, see this and go and open the double doors. There is suddenly, you don't know where it's coming from, but there's kind of like music that starts playing, almost like kind of like really quiet trumpeting. It's not meant to distract, but to give you warning that things are about to begin. And all of a sudden, down in what serves as basically an arena or a show area, you see the floor, what you thought was stone in most places, suddenly crackle and disperse into like a glass-like sheen. And where the stone did not dissipate, you just see the glow of molten lava. You don't feel the heat. It doesn't burn the remaining stone, but it glows and emits more light into the chamber than what the Jadeite crystals could ever hope to produce on their own without like hurting your eyes. And what is left of the stone is the two walkways to either doorway down below, a center ring, and then a almost like another platform from that below where the Viceroy is sitting. The three attendants on the opposite side of you stand up and turn towards the double door. Do you guys follow suit, or do you stay seated?
I stay seated, but okay. I watch them.
Okay.
What are the... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, what are the other guests doing at this point?
They are standing up, hands either behind their backs or in front of them, straight ramrod, however they like to keep their posture, and they're looking towards the double doors.
I would follow suit.
Okay.
Agreed.
Shelton just copies exactly what Ryan does.
I look around at everyone that stood up and stand up quickly.
Perfect. The Viceroy stands up. His daughter does not. She does turn as much as she can in her chair. And you hear him belt out, "The Regent 3 are entering. Welcome to tonight's events." And on cue, 3 figures of exactly similar heights, exactly similar pale silvery robes, same exact pale masks that don't appear to be metal, arrive one after the other, 3 of them. They come in, they stand for a moment, they bow to all of you very deeply, stand up and go to take their 3 seats in front of the Viceroy and Agna. And then the 3 guests on the opposite side of you bow as well and seat themselves. Do you guys follow suit, or are you staying standing?
Here to watch the show, so I follow suit for me.
All right.
Take a seat.
Sits once Ryan sits.
Okay. The regent stays standing as everyone else sits. The servants obviously stay standing. The attendants stay standing. He goes, "Tonight, you will all have a chance to see what we have produced in hopes of continuing our trade agreements and military pacts with your respective kingdoms, churches, establishments. We offer 2 new models from our hard-laboring regents, our alchemists and smiths. Please, I will turn your attention to the arena below." And as he says that, one of the Clockwork Guardians steps out, clanks his way to the center, kind of the stiff roboticness of him, his 4 arms, 2 of which are holding a shield, the other 2 on his right are holding long swords. And he stands at attention facing the Regent 3. Our first model will go against our well-established Guardian model. It is a prototype. It does not have all of its abilities. Please keep this in mind. The final model will be prepared for the convention in 3 days' time. And then as he says that, he gestures to the west entrance of the arena and goes, "We offer the Galashank, the bridge between machine and man." And what comes out, give me just a moment to find the picture, is a creature of, as he said, the bridge between machine and man, as a humanoid walks out, but on either side of them are these giant mechanical, heavy, reinforced arms that kind of walk in parallel with his steps like a lumbering beast. A big, giant carapace sits upon his back, that with a helmet with slats to see through, though you cannot see his face. Giant pistons of some sort of liquid pierce into the carapace, 5 of them distinctly along the back. There are gaps in the armor where something is supposed to be placed. The armor itself, not all the way reinforced in certain places as it should be. But even as so, this 6'5" monstrosity with all this gear lumbers out onto the arena and stands parallel to the Guardian next to it and faces up at the Regent 3. Immediately on the other side of the room, Orion and the other 2 guests are talking to each other, whispering. Orion's eyes alight and excited and keen to see what will happen next. Then the Viceroy sits, and one of the regents stands up, the one in the middle, and goes, "Our Clockwork Master wishes you to enjoy this show. Food will come during the festivities. If there are questions, concerns, please address them. Otherwise, we hope this is to your liking and will better build the bridges of our great city with your nations." And he sits back down. What do you all do in this moment?
We're told to sit back and enjoy the show, so
All right.
I take extreme attention to what's going on there.
I pull out a book and my pen, and I draw a quick sketch of what I see.
Okay. What
I
about Ryanthal and Shelton?
I think Ryanthal is just going to just focus very intently. I imagine probably leaning forward, hands clasped, head on their hand, staring very, very intently at this amalgamation in front of them.
Shelton is kind of just not paying attention, and then he sees Ryan leaning in and getting super serious, and kind of just mimics him.
Mimics it? Okay. Perfect. All right, so the large horn blares out. It's deep, a bellow. Doesn't hurt your ears, but it's meant to almost invigorate and excite. And all of a sudden, the Guardian turns and the Galashank model turns at the same time. They walk opposite of each other, about 10 feet. They turn and face each other. There's a moment of anticipation and silence between them as they just stare each other down, emotionless, cold readiness. Then all of a sudden, before the Guardian even has a chance to charge forward with its immense speed, the Galashank model lunges into the air, clasps both of its giant fists together, and slams its fist down onto the stone, and a sonic boom shoots out and explodes. Thankfully, the magic of this room keeps it from busting everyone's eardrums as the machine tries to hold back and stay standing, but is suddenly knocked prone and skids about 10 feet back as the Galashank model charges at it without hesitation. And it becomes a battle of screeching metal as the Guardian puts its shield up to deflect the slamming blows and the repeated parries that this creature does to it. Once in a while, you see the sword clash down into meat and metal and dents the the metal harshly, but it doesn't take nearly as much effect as you thought it would. And back and forth is this brutal battle, and all of a sudden, the Guardian stands up, managing to get a few feet away, and casts a spell of arcane energy towards the Galashank model, and then the orbs on its back pulse, and one of the vials suddenly shoots into the body, and the magic that would have potentially shattered part of its armor disperses without any effect. Back and forth this goes as they whittle each other down. Sparks flying, metal screeching, magic countering magic. And all of a sudden, the Galashank model, tiring from its human physiology as well, stumbles back, and the Guardian, taking the opportunity as its creation demands, misses the fatal blow that would have taken the Galashank model and the humanoid piloting its life. As the Galashank thrusts its fist through the center of it, grasps the core of the Guardian with a screech of strength, and just holds this 7-foot colossus of a machine aloft, and looks up to the Regent 3 before dropping the heart. Applause erupts from the other side of the room. Orion not applauding, but leaning forward very intently, looking a tad confused almost. As the Viceroy sits back smug, the daughter looking a little bit scared, as this is all crazy and so much violence for a young child to see. Does anyone do anything in this moment?
Edmund just watches. He settled back in the chair. He doesn't react to everything, just taking in the movements and the motions of both creatures. Both automatons, I guess we should say.
Alright, if no one's doing anything specifically beyond that, I would like everyone to roll me a perception check. And then call it out for me if you would.
14.
6.
I got
Okay.
a 4.
Okay.
7.
Okay. How about Quin'i'th?
I said a 14.
14, thank you. No, everyone else is really intense on this fight. But Quin'i'th, you're kind of used to watching your back and keeping an eye on all the things around you. And you noticed that some of the jadeite crystals and the magic that kind of like surrounds the arena, it's very faint. It's not hard. It's not super easy to notice, but you know it's there. Otherwise, you'd all be burnt to a crisp from the molten magma that's flowing under this place. You see that magic flicker a little bit. You see a weird flicker in the air as one of the Zalaran servants comes up next to the Regent 3, leans close into one, and seems to be whispering something to them.
So it seems to be in correlation to that.
Yes.
Time-wise, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Do I recognize the individual speaking to the Regent?
You do not. This is a cloaked servant that has come up to him. They were in the back next to the double doors, and they have walked up.
And they were in the back behind us all?
Behind the Regent 3. So they were next to the double doors behind the Regent 3. They're one of the ones that opened it.
Right.
And then they're the ones that come up to him now.
All right.
This is not Sandra, the one you've become familiar with. She is behind you on the stairs somewhere.
All right.
Okay. And after a few moments of talking, the Regent goes to stand up, the one that's to the farthest left. The other two are beginning to rise with him. When all of a sudden, there is a loud crash. Energy sizzles and pops in this space as the magic that keeps the layer of below you kind of safe from like flying metal and awry magic going off, just suddenly shatters into crystalline glass and fades into nothing. And then the Galashank model flings the Guardian at the Regent 3. Just chucks it at them. And
do I have time to...
I would say if you have a reactionary spell, you could use that.
What about a bonus action?
I would allow a bonus action.
I'll let you go first, Bruce.
Is it... How far away are we from them?
You are... Just a moment.
60 feet or less?
That's what I'm confirming right now, because I do have a map for this. You're just at about 60 feet, yes.
So is it possible... right. I'm going to cast my spiritual weapon.
Okay.
And try to cleave this thing in two and try and stop it from reaching them.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll.
18.
Let's see here. 18 just misses.
Crap.
You tried to cleave it. You screeched, like your weapon catches the metal and screeches across it, but it has been hucked with such velocity that it gets parried off and is like bounced back from the force as it careens towards the Regent 3. Edmund, what are you doing?
I Misty Step in front of them and quickly pull my shield and try and deflect it.
Okay.
Unless I can tackle the 3 out of the way.
You could either make me an athletics check. Actually, it will be an athletics check. Depending on what you choose, the DC will change.
Don't like athletics. I'll try to bull rush the 3 of them out of the way. So I'll Misty Step over and then try to knock them out of the way. Even if I take the full force of the hurled object, that's fine.
Okay.
When I say that's fine, it's not fine. But
I was going to say, all right, and that's how Johnny's character dies. And go ahead and pull out your backup character.
Oh, Boris Jr. I've been waiting all day to
Oh,
play.
no!
I would be like, he dies immediately. He was a defect. It did not work.
Could Shelton and the Chaos just take his bonus action and hide?
Yes, let's see what Evan comes up with, but yes, you can. I'll have you roll a stealth check in a second here. What was your roll? I missed it. Let's see.
For stealth, 17.
Oh, no, for Edmund.
Oh, I didn't roll yet.
Okay.
Athletics is my only option. Done. 3.
Unfortunately, you are in the chaos of the moment. You kind of stumble a little bit. You kind of crash into him almost, like kind of hindering him more. But you are in front of them. Your stealth check you have done, Shelton. So, Johnny, does a 21 hit?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
Oh, you've got a 22 armor class. That's why. All right, so this thing does hit you at Mach speed, but you get your shield up fast enough to take to block most of the damage. I still need to roll for one of the regents, the one to the right, because they did not do well on their dexterity save. Ooh,
Can they get advantage by hiding behind me?
Unfortunately, no, not in this
Okay.
moment. This is a giant piece of machine that got hucked. So unfortunately, you are not as wide as 7 feet. Okay, so the regent to the right of you. So the right being on the most west side, the east being the most left side. They get hit by one of the legs, and it cracks them hard across the ribs. You actually hear bone crunch as they suddenly gasp, and there's a little bit of blood that trickles out from there under their mask. You can't see, but that's what you start to see. It starts to stain the robes.
Let me know when I can respond.
Okay. Let me see. Ryanthal, what are you doing in this moment?
I don't really have any reactions or bonus actions at this time other than counterspell, which I don't think is going to work on a giant hurled piece of metal. So I think, looking intently, but I think at the moment I can't do any. I don't think there's really any actions for him other than just kind of to watch the scene unfold and get ready to spring into action potentially in a bit.
All right. So as this happens, this thing is going to take a special move where it suddenly takes off running towards the platform that is just below the Regent 3 and is going to leap in the air and come up 10 feet and is starting to climb the wall. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
No. No, I don't.
No.
I don't like it. I don't wanna. No. It's a big mean meat monster. No.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
Man, see, robots never go well. This is why nobody wants them. This is exactly why.
Also, I love the turnabout of like, yes, we've fixed all of the bugs. Immediately there's a bug.
Immediate
Like,
bug.
immediately.
Yeah, in the humanized version bug, yeah.
Mhm.
This is supposed to be their cool project, along with one other thing you haven't seen yet.
No, I don't want to
Wow.
see it. No.
Wow.
Shit.
We can all just run.
You could all just run.
We can all just run.
There's nothing in the rules say we can't just go home and be like, well, that was a cluster.
Yeah, I'd be like, well,
thank you all for Chronicle 3. I hope you had a great time.
We gotta just be like, go back to our respective lands and be like, well, we're not gonna be investing in those anytime soon. They got some kinks to work out.
All right, everyone, save all this for Table for D4 because this is great. Thank you all so much for watching. Please check out our social medias, Facebook, Instagrams, the TikToks, the patrons. If you feel like you're really enjoying this and want to support us, we greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, my name is Kaylee as your DM. Thank you.
And a big thank you to our Patreon supporters, Farlorn, Galashank, and one Kaylee Ann. We appreciate you. And does anyone have anything else they would like to promote? I know at least one of us here does, Mr. James.
Yeah, if you could go follow me on Sunnyside James, all social medias, primarily TikTok, that'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
He's got some funny stuff, guys. I recommend it.
Yeah, and some really awesome streams on Twitch. Definitely check those out.
Thanks.
And remember, everyone, dorks are dangerous. Bye!
Bye.